All right, my friends, welcome back to another V-Rising video. This is going to be a continuation of a series that I have done every single year, for every single update of V-Rising, including the pre-Gloomrod early access patch called Extremely Efficient and Modular Base Designs in V-Rising. So essentially, if you're not unfamiliar with what this is, that's okay. I'll explain exactly what's going on. So back in the day, way back in the early access patch, before we could build higher up, into like in multiple tiers with staircases, some of these plots or some of the areas that we had to build in, this is actually before there was even a territory system. You just had to pick somewhere on the map and build. And sometimes you did not have all that much space to build because you couldn't go up and someone may be building too close to you. And so I came up with this thought or this idea of how small could I make a base and still have it be essentially efficient enough to work and do the things you need it to do. And so that was the initial part of that. And so for every patch from there, we actually, not only did we get staircases we can build up, but also we got this territory system to have like a guaranteed area that we can build. However, there was still kind of an idea behind this, because not only is it small and efficient, but these bases, what this does is it minimizes the amount of materials that you need to farm in order to get everything up and running. So, and also the other good thing is you can essentially say like, okay, if I know that X room needs this many tiles, I know that I really only need this much space for my entire production floor, and the rest can be put towards defenses, or I can just save my time farming materials. So, okay, let's go ahead and jump into this really quickly. We're going to show this way. And by the way, in modular, what I mean by modular is you can kind of mix and match and piece these little rooms together. So for instance, right here, we start out in the jewel crafting room. This is a simple 2x2, and it's not really hard to slap a 2x2 anywhere. This one could be right here. It could be over here. It doesn't really matter. It's a 2x2. It's not hard to fit, right? As you can see here, we have all three of the crucial jewel cutting things inside of this room, and room for a teleporter. So the teleporters specifically, I'm just showing you how you can also get a teleporter if for whatever reason you decided you wanted a teleporter in a very specific room. I'm showing you like, hey, there's room for this as well, just trying to give you an idea. And so one thing to note with this, if you're on a PvP server and you're looking to raid, a lot of times you want more than one gem cutting table. Obviously, you could increase the size of this, but another thing you can do is actually just remove this. You could just like delete it for the time being and just set another one up like this. And then you can have two things crafting obsidian and golems at the same time. So just giving you an idea there. So next we're going to go into, let's go this way. We're going to go into, actually, let's go this way. We're going to go into this is just the library for the paper press. Now, previously I was including rooms with the research benches. Now, the thing about the research benches that I think is important to note, because we have such an easy way to kind of guarantee the things we get now, we could just go through here, and once we have what we need from that bench, unless you want it for decoration, just get rid of it. So for instance, once we have in the first tier, because we're out of Farbane so quickly, we're moving to tier 2. Unless it's on a brutal server where you specifically need very specific things or whatever to level up. Once you have, the crucial things, forged, or once you're out of Farbane really, and you have forged flooring, alchemy flooring, and then these potions down here, which is 250 paper, you really could just get rid of this. So for me, I kind of figured it's not really worth keeping around and keeping a spot for it. Same thing goes with the study. Really, all you need here is these two right here. It's nice to have the assortment of storage lockers as well. And then tailoring floors, library floors, and then obviously whatever pieces of armor that you need. And then really down here, what you're really looking for is these two here, fire resistance brew and wrangler potion. And then you can get rid of this. You really don't have to keep this, because once you have the knowledge unlocked, there's no reason to keep it. Then obviously, if you want to put your Athenium somewhere, or Athenaeum, whatever you want to pronounce it, you can put it wherever you want to put it. Assortment of cabinets, super useful, obviously. And this one right here, you definitely would want to put somewhere. I don't believe it even fits in a 2x2. If I got rid of this, I don't think I could fit it. Oh, you can fit it in there. There we go. So that's probably what I would do for once you're at the point where you're closer to end game. I would probably just put the Athenaeum or Athenium into the room like this. And obviously you wouldn't have room for a TP. A lot of times people like to have a TP near their research benches and stuff. But anyway, there you go. That should just give you an idea about what's going on there. Next, we're going into right here. This is the prison. So I have enough I have enough cells here for every single blood type. So you have like the 3 physical bloods, creature, and then Draculan rogue, mutant, scholar, and then worker blood. And so the other thing with this is the blood homogenizer. You don't actually have to have this in your alchemy room. A lot of people put this in the alchemy room because it honestly seems like it should be there. It should get some kind of bonus, but it doesn't. So you can just have it next to your servants here. This is a 2x4, right? It's a 2x4 cell space here. And you know, what's nice about this is you can kind of just run through this like this right here. And obviously there's enough space for a teleporter here. The teleporter doesn't really go anywhere else down the middle because these cells are kind of overlapping. All right, now we're gonna go back around this way. So the workshop, so the thing with the workshop that's really kind of strange, I don't know how to feel about this specifically, but the thing about the workshop that's kind of strange to me is this is actually the smallest you can make it, even if you were trying to be efficient. Now, there is one way I'll show later on to make it even smaller than this, but a 2x3, because the advanced sawmill is just so gargantuan and the advanced grinder isn't really all that small either, they actually do not fit together. If you are doing if you try to do like a 2x2 or like a 3x2 like this, you know, with 3 squares here and then 2 down here, it's just not big enough. It won't fit. You have to have a 2x3 minimum. And because of that, it actually opens up to a bunch of space. So you can actually get 2 grinders, advanced sawmill, and at least 1 sawmill. If you wanted to, if you were like, for instance, this is something actually, if you have ever been on a raid server or a server with daily raid, a lot of times, or like a fresh wipe, sometimes you'll want to have as many things refining at once. So you want to have all the wood refining as you possibly can to get your planks and everything going as quickly as possible to get a fully decked out castle, because it can take a while, especially if like I said, if you're on a server with a bunch of raid windows, or maybe like a weekly or daily raid, you may want to build up pretty quickly. And so you can actually put another sawmill here, or you can even make this, if you wanted to, you can make it a small grinder as well. And this right here, you just have to go around like this to go through, or you could just wolf form jump like that. But that does fit if you wanted to. And even with that, you could put the teleporter over here and all of that would fit together. Okay, so I'm showcasing this in the alchemy room. Again, you can have the blood homogenizer in here if you want. Obviously I have 2 here, not necessary in any way, but you know, if you want to have 2, you can. If you want to have not 2, you can have 2 if you want to, but if you want to have 1 in here, you could have it here. I'm just showcasing how you would fit that. And if you did not want this here, you could actually, what I would suggest doing is actually just putting another alchemy table. And unfortunately, this is like the most rage-inducing thing of all time for me in terms of crafting stations. Actually, that's not even close. It's just like this 3rd most annoying thing. For whatever reason, look how much space is on the side here. I don't know why this is like this. It can't fit here. Like, it should be able to fit there. It's not even touching or flipping through the walls. It should be able to fit here, and I should be able to put a wall here. But for whatever reason, it can't, and because of that, it has to be... it's at least an L shape like this. At least that's what you need to get these 2 things here. So because of that, that's why I recommend, if you wanted to do this, you can just make it a 2x2 like this. If you didn't want the blood homogenizer, you can just have this. You could even just take this out completely. If you really wanted to, you could put like a doorway, right? Let me see if I can even do this. Put a doorway like this. And then you could put another thing like this. And this would allow, then you would close this door off right here. You can open it, keep it open if you want to, but this would allow you to kind of have 2 at once if you wanted to. This would just be a doorway into the rest of your castle. But regardless, or you could even just do this like here if you wanted to. You could fit all of this together like this. And yeah, you get the idea. Okay, into the tailoring room. This one luckily has not changed in any way. This one's actually amazing now. I got it a little bit better. I found if you make it long ways like this, you can make a very comfortable, now that we don't have to have storage in the room for the thing that we're doing, it makes it so much easier to fit everything that you could possibly want inside of these rooms here. So here, 2 looms. In my opinion, you do want at least 2 looms. I don't really think it's really necessary to have 2 tanneries unless you're working with a squad that just needs tons of mats. But 2 looms for me is really important. This one right here doing like ghost yarn, silk, and shadow weave, whereas this one, honestly, because of the importance of the paper presses now and how we can use that with the altar of, or the Stygian summoning circle. You want to be able to have as much coarse thread as you possibly can to both make wool thread as well as scrolls. So for me, it's kind of just required to have 2 looms. If you don't want another advanced loom for whatever reason, you can delete this and just put a regular one here. It fits just fine. But for me, I figure you might as well, if you're going to do one, you might as well just take advantage and just bite the bullet and be able to speed it up. This is especially good too if for whatever reason you come by a lot of mats and you need to get like a bunch of things going all at once. So like, let's say you want to refine your wool thread while you're also refining like silk and or ghost yarn. Well, you can just toss the wool thread stuff in here while I do the other stuff here. You guys know how it works. Okay, advanced tannery here, and we can keep the leather working station. Once you have your bat leather bag in your saddle, you can also just get rid of this. Like, it doesn't really matter, but it does fit now comfortably, which is kind of a change from before where you wanted to have storage. It was kind of rough to get like everything in here all at once. You could definitely do it if you wanted to, but it just felt kind of strange getting it all in here. And next, we're going into the forge room. So this one, you kind of just have to deal with it and unfortunately bite the bullet and do a 3x3 now. This is the smallest you're going to make this to make it super efficient. I actually think it's not too bad. Okay, so little pet peeve here, stun lock. I'm kind of annoyed. Well, first things first, the stupid fabricator is still way too big. It just doesn't make any sense how much space this thing takes up. Like it just like I can't get this thing like here. Like this works, but like this doesn't work, right? It's like, sorry, let's see here. There we go. So like I can get it this close, right? But then like if I try to put this down one or whatever, it's kind of weird with other things. This one's annoying. It's just a little bit too large in my opinion. However, the Fusion Forge now suffers from the thing that the Ancestral Forge suffered from in the Gloomrot patch. Previously in the Gloomrot patch, the Ancestral Forge, the collision of this just didn't make any sense. Like, see how we're touching this right here? In the Gloomrot patch, it was like out to here. Like I literally couldn't get, it was like this far away. And I was like running into it just like, eh. And it took up so much space. It was really annoying to place. But they fixed that in 1.0. I was super happy about that. However, now the Fusion Forge is doing the same thing, even though the collision itself is correct. For whatever reason, this gigantic gap here, I mean, look at this. This cannot be placed. I don't know why. You have to, this thing just takes up, it's so like clunky to place. This little area right here definitely just needed to be trimmed down. And the same thing goes right here. Like you can't get this here. So if I take, if I get rid of this real quickly, if I slide this over, look at this. Okay, it does work this way. Okay, it does work that way. Okay, I lied. Okay. But this right here is just really frustrating. This space here. Anyway, sorry for the rant. Anyway, this is really cool here. Otherwise, this is really cool. So I think this is pretty good. This is probably as much as you're going to need even for a duo, and arguably for probably maybe not a squad. You probably want like 2 or 3 or 4 of these for a squad. But this is perfect in my opinion. So the way this works here, Ancestral Forge, you can actually move this over like this if you wanted to. You could have it like this and still be able to run past here and get all the way back here if for whatever reason you wanted to. But for me, I think this is kind of perfect. You can kind of just run up here to the anvil, do your thing, Ancestral Forge here, Fusion Forge here, and then obviously right here. And what's nice about these advanced furnaces, these things are amazing. You can just run right behind them. And finally, we are into the kind of the magnum opus of the patch. This one here feels just amazing overall as the 2x2 full treasury room. I have everything in here. So like I have 2 coin storages for whatever reason. I don't even know why I have 2 coin storages. You can get rid of one of these and put something else there if you wanted to. Just wanted to showcase how much you could fit in here. We have here's gem, alchemy, everything here. And we have it just spaced perfectly. So you can kind of just run through like this. Honestly, now that I'm thinking about it, you would probably want to get rid of this and put a teleporter. Maybe move this over or something and put a teleporter right here. If it fits, let's see if the teleporter fits. Let's go like this. I'm not sure if the teleporter fits here. Yeah, it probably doesn't fit because of the weapon storage. One thing you can do to deal with that is you can make the weapon storage, you can turn it sideways like this, I think. I think that would fit. No, it does not work. It doesn't work. Okay, too bad. This is how it's going to be. So yeah, but anyway, I think this one's pretty cool. You probably just line this up like this and make it easier to come in and out. Yeah, I think this is pretty cool. It's access from 4 sides. So obviously, like I said, there's not really much room for the TP. So if you wanted to deal with that, you could just add another square, or you could just make it so that the teleporter, you place this thing in a way so the teleporter is just kind of like right here. So you can, take the teleporter and run in directly inside. Okay, so all in all, this is pretty much everything you're going to need for a full base. And this is 46 tiles worth. And like I said, I said it's modular because as you can see, this is a 2x2, 2x2, 2x3. They're all very square-like. Like this one right here obviously isn't. If I had the blood homogenizer in here, the other one, if you want to get rid of that, you could very easily make this a 2x2 as well. And what's cool about that, everything's very even shaped, so you can kind of just put stuff anywhere and it'll fit just fine. However, now we are going on to the ultimate rat version of the build, showing how small you can make things if you really wanted to go full-on Giga Rat. Starting over here, we're gonna go up a floor to showcase this. So we go up the stairs here, and we're going to showcase, here is the forge room, which is a 2x3. And you saw I probably have to jump over. Well, the thing that's amazing about the furnace is, look at this. Imagine the collision on some things I can't run past, and this I can run through right here. I mean, imagine, you know, come on, make it all like this. It's so good. Okay, 2x3, we have everything in here. Everything in here. Now, except for obviously the other things. So what you would want to do in that regard, if you needed the Fusion Forge or the Ancestral Forge, those are things that are kind of just sitting in your base until you need them. So what I would suggest doing if you want to go full rat is have the fabricator here refining, and then whenever you need, you know, whatever it is, you're like, oh, I need the Ancestral Forge. Just come in here. Whoops. Just come in here. Take all, delete this, and then put this down here like this, and be like, okay, here we go. I've made my ancestral thing, and then I need to fuse it with stuff. All right, cool. I'll delete that. Let's go ahead and do this. Do the Fusion Forge, and then once we're done, you would delete that, and you would put the fabricator back in place. So yeah, that's how I would do the forge room personally if I was going full rat. Here, right here, I mentioned this is kind of like how you have to do it, an L-shaped for the alchemy room. Sadly, if you don't have a staircase specifically, like a double wide staircase, if this was a full-on staircase, sorry, not double wide, a long staircase, like a straight stair, this actually would allow you to have this here. I want to say if you had one like this, but that's not how it works. You can't really do that all the time, so it's going to have to at least be an L-shape to fit this in. And here we are in the most cursed thing here imaginable. We have the blood homogenizer, and I have all but one. So there is room for every single blood type except for one. So what that means is instead of getting a worker and a creature, you're going to have to capture a werewolf. So you can capture 100% werewolf, slap them over here. Then you would have access to creature worker, and then all of the other physical bloods, rogue, brute, warrior, and then scholar, Draculan mutant, corrupted. So we have just enough room. This is, again, a 2x3 with a one thing sticking off the side for the creature blood. And here we have the tailoring room. I smashed this as small as I could possibly get it. This right here is what I love to see. Being able to fit an advanced station in a 1x1 like this, or on nearly a 1x1, is just the best thing ever. Here we have a 2x2 with a little one thing sticking off the side here. You have everything you need for your little rat tailoring room. And here is another L shape for the artisan or the jewelry room here. So with this in mind, I mentioned, you know, getting rid of the jewel crafting table. That same thing goes here. If you needed something here, what you're gonna have to do is you're actually gonna have to delete this and then put the artisan table like this. So, and then you have to jump past this like this, or you can actually just move this over here. That's how you, unfortunately, you have to make it work here. You have to kind of work with it this way in the L shape, but it does, again, these are things, the jewel crafting table is just something you use until you have what you need, and then you can just get rid of it anyway. So it's not really that big a deal. If, you know, you find, if you like, whatever, I just want to get rid of it, make it efficient that way. It's not really that big of a deal to keep it in L shape if you really wanted to go, again, full wrap. And again, here is the 2x2. I mentioned that you just cannot fit all of this together, or these two things together in a 2x2. It just doesn't work. There is kind of a thing I can show. I'm going to showcase with the blue TP. There's kind of a thing with it that I'll showcase that you can do, because the thing about these stations here is, while they are important, they're not the most important thing of ever to have on your production floor. Arguably, you could put them down a floor if you wanted to. If you have a TP to them, I'll show you what I mean. But if you don't want to do that, you can have it situated like this. Here's a grinder here, 2 advanced grinders. Here's a sawmill. Here's another sawmill. So similar to the other one, we have it all crammed in here. And if you wanted to, if you really wanted to go full on insane, I don't even know why you would even do this. You can, in theory, place another one of these like this. You would have to jump in and out like this. You could have all the way, you could have that if you wanted to. I don't recommend it, but you could do it. So, okay, let's go ahead and take the TP. I'm going to showcase how you can fit things into, or this thing into a 2x2. you have to have a staircase on both sides. And then you could do a 2x2 and fit 2 advanced grinders and advanced sawmill. I believe you can also fit this. Yes, you can. There we go. And you can also fit a sawmill like this. You would essentially just have staircases borderlining 2 sides like this. The idea here would just be kind of like a decoration thing. Or if you just wanted to do this and have them lead to nowhere like this as almost like a defensive kind of thing. I mean, you could do that if you wanted to. Obviously, in sawmills, as important as all these things are, it's not that big a deal, you know what I mean, to not having your production floor if you didn't want to. But maybe that's a little too nerdy for most people. It's a little bit too rowdy. So, okay, let's go ahead and finish this off here. Here's the library room. Again, unfortunately, we have to fit this in an L shape because for whatever reason, the paper press is similar to the alchemy table. It just doesn't fit. It doesn't fit. It does not fit right here. I swear, by the way, please somebody tell me I'm actually going crazy. I swear this used to fit in a 1x1. I swear it did. And it just doesn't anymore. Am I going crazy? Am I wrong here? I swear it used to fit like this. Like I swear I used to be able to do like this, and you could fit this with like a wall like this. I swear that was the case. You could fit it like this, but I guess not. I mean, I guess I'm going crazy. I don't know. Somebody tell me otherwise. Again, if you put this on a staircase, it would fit perfectly on like an L-shaped stair. It'd be perfect. But, and then here is again, this may be the other magnum opus for the store, whatever this thing's called, the treasury room. Pretty cool. Another L shape here. I like these little L shapes. It's kind of cool. Do these. I have everything here. The idea being, if you're a rat or if you're living efficiently, so if you're a solo or a duo, a lot of times solo players will live very efficiently. Meaning what they do is they fill in. It's funny, I didn't put my lockbox here. Let me do that really quick. Is it? There it is. So like this, and then by the way, this lockbox, that's what's supposed to be downstairs, not the coin box. It's supposed to be the lockbox. So a lot of times as solo players, you want to live what I call paycheck to paycheck. What you're doing is you fill your box, your vampire lockbox, with repair mats. And you usually have space for like either repair mats for your castle, maybe some important things like greater Stygian shards or like a legendary or something that you don't want to lose. You can put those things in here, onyx tiers, that kind of thing. Otherwise, you're filling this with repair mats, gold, silver, reinforced planks, shadow weave, bat leather, and then whatever that's called, dust, radium, power cores, and then you kind of have all of this space here for the other like. Maybe another stack of gold is what I would suggest. That's usually what I do. Maybe another stack of power cores, and then you have the 4 spaces for whatever else you need. And so once you have, your goal as a solo is to fill this entire thing up. Once you have that, everything else other than heals or buffs, which also a lot of times I'll put these in here as well. I have a spot for buffs because I actually personally think those are super important. If you're fighting somebody of equal skill and he's buffed and you're not, you lose 100% of the time. So for me, those buffs are just too important. And if you get raided and you have no buffs to use, then you're kind of just out of luck. So that's why personally I put these in the lockbox if I can. Regardless though, it's obviously easy to refill those. Regardless, what I would suggest here is, so yeah, like I said, paycheck to paycheck. Once this is filled, everything else in here is gravy. Everything else in here is bonus. It's an extra. Fish, you can just go get fish. You can go over here. You can break at Finn's little spot. You can break the stuff over there, get fish there. You can go over here to Silverlight Brighthaven Docks, get fish here. You can come up here and get fish here. If you fish, like I do not fish, I've literally not fished almost ever. I haven't fished in 3 years, I believe. So if you're like me, if you're not like me, you can fish over here at the coast and just get insane fish very, very quickly. You can refill fish pretty quickly, that kind of thing, right? So that's why we have all the stuff here. Everything here is kind of just like the plants. You are going to have a lot of flowers for pollen as well as plant fiber. I personally find that as a solo, a single one of these big ones, I can fill this up actually pretty easily, or at least almost fill it up. So that's why I have a big one. Tailoring, on the other hand, what exactly even goes in here? Like a lot of times it just ends up being like thick leather or whatever. And it just, who cares? Just refine it, you know? It's really hard to fill this all the way up. Bat leather, you just drop it. Who cares? Like you don't need 15 lines of bat leather. Doesn't really matter. And then knowledge, same thing. This should be going actively nowadays because we can use this. This should actively be going to schematics and into your Stygian summoning circle. That's where it should be going. So for me, it's not a big deal as a solo. This thing is just a single one. It's not a big deal. Now this is kind of sketch, a single consumable. I would actually argue you could probably put a double one because we have so many consumables now. But a single one, this could be kind of for heals, and then you could either replace one of these secretaries for another individual one. This could be you could do this for blood, you could do this for like buffs, whatever you want it to be. And then obviously coins or gems here. You can fill this up pretty easily. Just have to stay on top of your gem dusts and stuff. But otherwise, maybe make golems if you want to. Large material storage. This one can get filled up pretty easily. I just have a big one here, but you can kind of replace this with what you want. This one gets filled up with blood a lot, but you should just be refining those down. Blood kind of goes really quickly now because you need them for your elixirs. So you actually should be spending these kind of on cooldown whenever you can. Juice storage, only really need one of those. Then we have an extra secretaire here, fish. There was another secretaire here. And then obviously you could adjust this however you want. Kind of cool stuff. Okay, so that is the efficient base setup there. And the last thing, I'm just gonna give you a little bit of a teaser for efficient defense setup. This is not really efficient, but kind of interesting. I want to showcase this. So I'm working on a project right now. I'm trying to figure out how it feels to have an efficient defensive setup like this. And the idea here, this is kind of a side note, just a little spoiler for you here, is if you are joining a server late and you get a plot like this, how are you supposed to build to defend that? Well, my thought was, hey, what if we just completely forego trying to make it so my defenses cover all different sides, and I just collapse it into this tiny little area? Let me just TP over there and I'll show you what I mean. It's not working. Oh, hold on, let me do this. There we go. TP here, show what I mean. So you just collapse it. Like, how are you supposed to defend this when we have all these different entrances? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Like, there's no way, right? So my thought was, hey, what if instead I just built a heart right here, and then I made it like this? I backed it into a corner like this. I just completely ignored the other stuff. Now, the one thing, there is one part missing to this. I'll explain that. I completely ignored everything, and all I had was a staircase that was blocking the heart like this, right? Here's the heart. And then I had servants, and that's all it was. And so what this does, the reason I'm showcasing this, what this does is, and then the thing that's missing here is I would put, or is it? I would put stairs like this or like this. I would block off these things to make it hard to angle or attack with as a golem. And the idea here is if I'm raiding this guy, you block the stairs off like this, I only have 4 walls that I can even hit. There's not, like, how are you going to breach this guy without actually addressing servants? And the answer to that is you would have to go all the way out, overextend, out of position, back to the spot. You could hit the heart right here, or hit up here, or walk over here and hit this door, right? And also up here, you would put banshees up here, which means if you get keyed, by the way, then all these banshees are let loose all along this area. They have to fight them anyway. Not that it's going to stop them because you got keyed. That's just how it is. You kind of get screwed. Regardless, though, the idea is you put staircases to block off so they can't long range attack you with like a golem long range. So they have to come up here. And when they come up here, well, your servants are here. And so they have to fight you kind of on your terms in this tiny little thing. And like I said, there's only a few walls they can even hit. If they're back here hitting this wall to your heart, you literally just open this up. And they're just stuck here with servants, right? And the idea here as well that I don't have it set up here, you would have staircases, right? Blocking it off, making it really difficult for them to like kind of funneling them into this area. So anyway, that to me is kind of an efficient base defense setup. And then you could also put I also toyed with having banshees on this side as well, by the way, over here. It kind of felt okay, but I don't know. It made it a little bit harder to defend. It was a little bit too wide. I think the servants are the most potent part of your defense. So for me, it was kind of like, put this upstairs as like a last little line of defense. Like let's say your servants get wiped and they are hitting this, right? But you just come up here, right? And you open banshees and you lead them down this way. And then you go like this, right? And then the banshees come out here and the banshees are fighting on top of your heart anyway. So anyway, so that is going to be it for now. You're probably wondering, hey, where's the Stygian summoning circle and the rat nest, vermin nest, or whatever? Those to me can't really be efficient. The efficiency for the Stygian summoning circle is a 2x2, and it's usually used for raid defense anyway. So that would go like someplace like this. And then same thing with the rat nests. A lot of times people use them for, you can have them. I mean, 4x4 has to be like a 3x3 for 4. I think it's a 3x3. I think, or maybe it's a 3x3 for 4 vermin nests, or maybe it's I can't, something like that for 4 vermin nests. So those ones, I mean, it's not going to be efficient. And honestly, those ones, if you're using them to farm with, a lot of times people use them as raid defense as well. Kind of interestingly, they use them as raid defense. So to me, it doesn't really fit in this situation here. But if you want them, it is something like a 3x3. Anyway, that's going to be it for now. This was 30 minutes. That's how it is. We're going into Nerdland, so hopefully you guys have enjoyed it. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments below. Leave a like on the video if you like this type of content. And feel free to subscribe because this is what we are doing. But anyway, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. And we'll catch you in the next one.